Ringer on the phone cut off.
You're on. So I think they have a comment section. I don't know. For some reason, I had a little trouble with this last time too, but we did get people to make that question.
Private chat comments.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, I'll move them to the private chat.
I see it in the private chat, and then the comments, I guess that's just so you can read as people put things up. So
yeah. So either way, if they want to ask questions through comments or through the private chat, that's fine. I don't know if we get to see the people that are here or not. I forget. I think we don't. Okay. There we go.
I see Mr. Joe on here. Good morning, Joe.
So how do I respond to that? Okay, we do have two people on right now.
Good morning, Matthew. Matthew chiming in from Dallas.
Yeah. Yes, good morning, Joe and Matthew. Well, we had 132 people sign up for this, so we'll give it a few minutes before we start. Caleb. Hey, good morning, Caleb.
Caleb coming in from San Antonio. Kayla,
Kayla,
good to see you. We'll give it a couple of minutes here to get everybody in the room.
Sharon, good morning. And there's Don.
Oh,
hey, Don, good morning. Travis, good morning. Good morning, Eric.
Mr. Eric, good to see you, sir. Ian. For those of y'all just chiming in, we're letting the room fill up a little bit. We had quite a few folks sign up for the course. We want to make sure everyone gets a chance to get logged in, then we'll start. But good to
Hello,
see
Jeanette. Francis, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Oh, Eric has already been in. He's responding to your comments, Shiloh.
Eric's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
We have quite a few folks on here. Joe's chiming in from Hawaii.
Yeah. Tim, good morning. Montana.
Mr. Tim.
Maybe we'll do a minute or two more.
we'll give it to 5 after there, and then we'll go ahead.
Yeah, we'll go to 11:35. We'll still try to hit the 30-minute mark, but if
I just got a message from Sam Dowd. He is stuck in a meeting and he's not able to participate today, but he's looking forward to seeing the recording.
good. I haven't seen Sam in a while. It's been, I haven't seen him in a while.
I'll be visiting with Mr. Sam and quite a few others tomorrow evening as we host our first social event for our construction veterans reducing suicide. So
yeah, I think I'm going to try to go to that. So
glad to have you there. Glad to have you. I think we got 208 signed up.
Really,
we got some good events going on. Some information.
Well, why don't we get started?
Okay.
Tim has been the last one to sign in, and it's been over a minute. So first off, welcome everybody and thank you for taking the time to join Shiloh and I. Excuse me, for this very important informational topic. We did have 132 people register. Everyone who registered will be getting a recording and the information that we present to you today. The information has a lot of links in it for additional information. With that said, let's get started. My name is Steve Kuntz. I'm the CEO of Velocity View and with our product Safety Assist. And Shiloh?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shilow Rowe. I'm the safety director at AGC Austin, Texas. I'm also a member of the National AGC Construction Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Task Force. So it seems like we're getting some bad echo somewhere along the way. I here to talk today about not only our monthly or the monthly program that's out nationwide on preventing suicide, but looking specifically at it in construction and even a deeper look into our veterans that are working in construction. But we're going to cover suicide and some PTSD awareness on our job sites. So,
so the simple agenda here is that I'm going to present some statistics that I pulled from a very reputable statistics company, 2025 stats. I'm going to look at 988 on OSHA resources, and then Shiloh will take over for the CVRS program and also managing PTSD in construction as well. Once we're done with that, we will move into any Q&A that you have. If you want to ask a question, you can do it through the comments you're doing here, private chat, but we look forward to getting to those questions and answers at the end of the presentation. We will try to keep it to 12, maybe 12:05 due to delay in the start. So having said that, these are statistics that I found. And what's interesting about them, and I don't generally like to read everything word for word, but it's important, I think, that we do that here because these statistics support what Shiloh has put together with his two programs. So, for example, and one of the things that suicide awareness has not been a topic. It started being a topic at ABC when I was at ABC and AGC about 4 or 5 years ago. And it became startling to people, the number of death by suicide that's occurred in construction. So one stat, 65% of construction workers experience mental health issues due to job stress. The construction industry has one of the highest suicide rates among all sectors with a rate of 53.3 deaths per 100,000 workers. And Shiloh, I know you wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at those numbers, right? 53.3 deaths per 100,000 workers, and you're trying to figure out the math and looking at what that kind of boils down to. Reports that come in and talk about this is it's anywhere between a total of 6,000 to 7,000 deaths per year. That's our total, right? Not trying to figure out how many 100,000 are working here and there. what we're looking at total 6 to 7. We'll lose 1,000 people over a course of job site accidents, but we're losing 6 to almost 7,000 a year to suicide. And our veterans at one point were dying by suicide at a rate of 22 a day. That's close to those same amount of numbers, and now we've gotten them down to the 17.6 is the number that they're using there. But and that's a per day amount. So this is a huge amount. I mean, if you think about that, if you got a news report that 6,000 people were suddenly killed, that would just, I mean, we'd be on the end. But we spread it out over a year, we spread it out across the country. It doesn't seem to have quite the same impact, but yet it should.
Yeah, the large percentage of construction workers are feeling stressed, depressed. Construction workers are 25% more likely to experience mental health issues compared to workers in other industries. So we're at the top of this heap here that we've got to figure a way to lower these numbers. 45% of construction workers have not accessed mental health support program due to stigma. It's a very important part of putting together your program at your construction company. And then 80% of construction employers acknowledge mental health, but only 40% have formal support programs. And you'll see that in that statistic in one of Shiloh's slides as well. There's a burnout, high percentage, more than half workers have experienced burnout. 52% of construction managers have experienced or witnessed a mental health crisis on site. That's an amazing stat to me that is that high. Anxiety and depression are the most common mental health problems. 46% of construction workers believe their job negatively impacts their mental health. That to me is also an astounding statistic, that half of the workforce feels that what they do is negatively impacting their mental health. And nearly 60% of construction companies have no mental health policies in place, which means that 40% do, which is great. Those 40% should be congratulated, but let's get it to 100% as quickly as possible. 38% of the workers in the construction industry have taken time off. So that's not, I mean, not that I want to emphasize the importance of schedule, et cetera, in this presentation, but that is not only is a bad thing for a mental health issue, it's a bad thing in terms of the construction scheduling, et cetera. And then peer support programs have increased by 30% in companies in the last 5 years. And peer support is something Shiloh will also talk about. That's extremely important in terms of how we look at our fellow employees and how we try to get them to speak up if they are having issues. My last slide that I'm going to present is this 988 slide. This is where you have a couple of, when you get this information, you'll be able to download these OSHA pamphlets and go to the org chart chat for 988 Lifeline. I'm going to say one comment, then I think Shiloh wants to talk about this as well. The pamphlets are really English and Spanish, but they're the same, and they're broken up into 5 things. The first one is to be aware. The second one is to pay attention. The third one is to reach out. The fourth one is to take action. And then the fifth one is to learn more. And I really highly recommend everybody take a look at those pamphlets, post them, share them with fellow workers that you have in your company. They're very, very important. And Shiloh wants to talk about 988.
Yeah. So if you're on this call, you are more than likely have heard of 988, right? It's nothing new. We're seeing the stickers go out there and put out there. I kind of put a challenge out to folks on LinkedIn, especially for this month, and I'll put it out to everyone watching here. Have you called the number yourself? How do you expect that number to work? How do you expect someone to take your guidance and saying, hey, if you're feeling bad, call this number? If you haven't called it yourself, do that. If you're a veteran, call 988, press 1. The prompt will guide you through it. There's prompts for other services as well. I did it again just the other day so I could go through it and make sure everything, how it's working and talking to folks. It's not like calling 911. Cops aren't showing up to your house. No one's coming to get you. There's no bad side effects to it. You're going to call that number. You're going to get a prompt that's going to direct you into the category you need to receive. And then a live person is going to answer that phone 24/7, no matter what time of day you call it. And they're going to talk to you and ask you how you're doing and what you're going through and how they can help you. And they'll help find things and resources that are in your area, right? I spoke to a lovely lady the other day. I told her why I was calling, how I was going to do this challenge. I wanted to put it out to everybody. I wanted to know how their program actually worked. And it was really, really good. Very calm, not anybody that's talking down to you, demeaning you, nobody that's judging you. They're just listening to you and saying, she wanted to make sure I was okay at 100%. And so she checked all of those and we went through all of those things. But it's a real easy talk. And I implore you guys, give it a try. Give it a call. Call 988. Do it today. Do it at least this week and this month. So you know what it's like when you call that number and what to expect of it. And so that way, you know when somebody asks you if you've ever called it, you can say, yes, you have. And it's easy and it's a simple resource to be used. So try that.
So let's move into your next slide here. And you just let me know when you want me to flip the slides. Okay.
Okay. So a little bit of background, right? So being in AGC and being a part of the National AGC Task Force for Construction Mental Health Suicide Prevention, I started asking some questions about, hey, are we tracking? Are you looking at your veterans that are working in construction? And nobody really was. And you have on one side, you've got your CDC, and you've got OSHA, and you got folks that are calculating some numbers. We can tell you if somebody is how old they are, whether they ate lunch, the time of day, and all like that. But nobody was looking and was following up on, hey, at least on the side of OSHA and CDC, they weren't following if you were a veteran. And on the veteran side of looking at things, they knew what service, what branch, where you serve that way, but they didn't know whether the person was working construction. So I started looking at it, making phone calls, and sure enough, we're like, hey, we have people that were discerned as dual risk, right? You have somebody that has their issues, their problems from maybe prior service and being in the military and being in combat. They come back, they get out, an easy transition, a great job transition is moving into construction. Well, construction comes with its own mental health issues. And so putting those two things together, that cross point, I said, hey, there's a specific group out here that needs some specific attention, and what can we do? I see the question, is 988 only for veterans? No, it's not. It's for everybody. And there happens to be the one of the call groups, I guess you would say, was channel 1 is for veterans, but there's channels on there for veterans. There's channels on there for Spanish speakers. So it'll break you down to that, whether it's a drug dependency and stuff. So great question on there, Yara. But anyway, so we came up with Construction Veterans Reducing Suicide, CVRS, another peer name or acronym for that is COVERS. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to put together all the things that are out there, all those sources that are available for our veterans that are working. And that are our veterans that are working in construction. I said, hey, we're going to put this together, and I'm going to see if I can get some training involved in it. We train people in our first aid, CPR, and AED on the job. We're not training them to be doctors and paramedics, but we're training them to put that first response in place. I wanted to do the same thing for mental health. So I started looking around, and sure enough, hey, the VA's got all of this training available to us. Hey, AGC has all this training for construction folks together for us. And there's these different groups that are out there that have this mental health training. We grouped it all together and started putting it together. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I wanted to use what was already out there and just make it more functional and able to be used in a real life situation. So we made a peer-to-peer group, right? So we take our folks, we train them. They come in, they meet with us, and we get the training. We work together, we peer network together, we talk to each other, and then they go back to their company as a liaison. They become the guy on the job site, like your first aid leader, that they're doing it for mental health. And so we've got, a sticker that you kind of earned, or a tab that you earn called your Pathfinders tab. If you've received your training, hey, I know how to talk to somebody. I know what to say. I know what not to say. The old adage of, hey, my buddy's in a bad place, we'll go over and drink it out and, drink away the demons for the night, and then we'll get back at it tomorrow. That doesn't work. It only adds more to the problem. So we learned to work with those kind of things. And we learned that, hey, do you know that this is available and that's available? It could be that your folks are working on the job site and they don't even realize that your company insurance plan, your EAP, your employee assistance programs that are available are going to cover your mental health needs. It could be that you've got a veteran that's working out there and he thinks, hey, I got out, I did my time, I'm not a disabled vet, I don't go to the VA, I don't have any benefits. Yes, you do. And every VA outpatient clinic has a mental health office inside of that clinic that you can call, go down, visit, and see and talk to. I think a strong thing to think about as well is, hey, what exactly is mental health issues that we have on it? We tend to think of, the guy under the bridge with the messy hair and asking if he can bum a cigarette, or they're begging for change, that's somebody with, while that is a mental health issue or a drug dependency issue, it can also look like a parent that's at their wits end, and you got a newborn that's not sleeping, that's sick, and you're not getting any sleep, but you're still trying to make deadlines and still trying to care for the family and do all of that. It can be a teenager that's trying to fit in and figure themselves out. It can be the new guy that just hired into a construction industry and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to figure out what to do and if anyone's going to teach him, and as he's walking through the job site. It could be the older guy on the job that thought he was going to retire and finds himself back in the workforce, and he's having to compete with guys 20 to 30 years younger than him, and he's trying to stick up and keep with him, and the pain and exhaustion rolls into it. So it branches out into all aspects of life. So there's a lot that goes to it, and breaking that stigma and knowing, hey, what we can do about it is really what's going to help. And so if we can go to the next one. So some of the resources that I have available that. So we have on our AGC website, you can come visit us, contacting me. You can go through the agcaustin.org. I have my own email up there, but our AGC, not just AGC Austin, but agc.org, our parent company. If you search AGC mental health, one of the pages that's going to come up is our parent page. AGC National has one of the largest resources available for mental health programs and training and pamphlets, toolbox talks. It's amazing. Our folks that are spearheading that are Mandy Kime out of AGC of Washington and Brandon Anderson out of AGC Missouri. The work that they've done, those two individuals were invited over to England by the English Parliament, and were recognized by the English Parliament for the work that they have done and put out there with this task force. I am an ambassador of that task force. I work underneath that and with them, and then I kind of have a list there of some of the areas that you could contact. But if you go onto that webpage, you'll be able to find and list the ambassadors in your area. And then I have our listing on there for our VA. Yes, there is the VA.gov that you can go to, and the mental health they have there. But do you know what your local VA, your local office is? Have you contacted them? Do you have that kind of information available to you? Do you have your EAP? Do you actually know what your EAP number is? What do you call? Have you called it? Do your employees or those that you're working alongside know it? There's other organizations like VSOs, Veteran Service Organizations, organizations like everyone may have heard of Wounded Warrior. They've also got Heroes Night Out is a local one for us around here. They do an amazing amount of work with our veterans and helping them reintegrate and get into that. Let's see what something has opened up there. And then your local mental health professionals in our area. I have 3 mental health professionals that are on our program that, if you don't want to use your EAP, you don't want to use the VA, you don't want to go through a veteran service organization, maybe you need to talk to someone professional. They are here, they are professionals, and they work with you immediately. So it's really great that I see that I've got not only this program working, but all the support that we've gotten for that as well. If you want to,
Let's go to the PTSD section because of time. There's some more resources for everybody as well that Shiloh has put together.
And these are just some of the ones that are local around us. But these same kind of information can be found in your area where you're at as well. But getting into our, so how do you deal with PTSD? Not necessarily construction led, not necessarily, I'm not construct, not combat, but what do you do when you've got somebody on your job site that is experiencing some mental health issues on your job? How do you as a supervisor or you as a foreman or just a leader on your job site, when you have somebody that's dealing with these, or maybe you're dealing with these problems on your job sites, what can we do to work with and help those individuals? Well, understanding what it is and its symptoms are first, right? What is the core symptoms of it? And how's it going to impact your work and what you're doing on your job site, right? Is it going to impair your concentration, your organizational skills, emotional management, how you're going to just flare up at something? Approximately 8% of the population may experience PTSD of some sort, and that rate rises 10 and 20% upon those that have been exposed to trauma. And then we need to have employer awareness. Employers must recognize that PTSD is the symptoms to provide appropriate support. So we'll go on to the next one. So some of your common symptoms that you have: intrusive thoughts and memories, flashbacks, having nightmares, or just being fatigued. Hey, you can't sleep or you don't want to sleep because you don't want to think about those things that they're causing all this anguish. So you're up all night. Hypervigilance. You're so worried and so stressed, and maybe these things are haunting on you that you're constantly watching and looking out for those things, or you're avoiding going into certain areas. Perhaps you had an individual that was a job site accident, and they were hit by a piece of equipment, and now you got your folks on the job site that they don't want to work around or even hear that piece of equipment running anymore. I can't be over there by that saw. I can't be around that forklift. And so those things come into play with that. So you end up being that hyper vigilant when you're working around it, and you avoid those areas and circumstances. How do we work with this? Educate our teams on what PTSD is. And back in the day, we can go all the way back to World War II in 1945 when our veterans were coming home and people started seeing that there's problems dealing with this trauma. Back then, they used to call it battle fatigue and shell shock. It wasn't until 1949 that they recognized the first steps towards mental health awareness months and started looking at it. In the 1950s and 60s, we became about the age of mother's little helper, right? Instead of helping with the actual problems, we started just medicating for it. Our Vietnam veterans coming home in the 60s and 70s, that's when the terms post-traumatic stress started coming around, and it wasn't recognized as a symptom until 1980. And that was groundbreaking because at that point, trauma became real, it became diagnosable, and it became treatable. We saw lessons with using our pills, using tranquilizers, like I said, the mother's little helpers, and then we moved into opioids, and from there we moved into the SSRIs and SSRIs and our SNRIs for your inhibitor take-ups and stuff. It wasn't until 2008 that we saw suicide prevention become a policy. It actually became law. So it was the first time that we saw it become more than just a medical issue. It became a matter of law and public policy. So with all of this, this is education. This is how we communicate this to folks, right? Open communication. Encourage this with your folks. Let them know. Give them the knowledge behind it that, hey, this isn't something that's just popped up. It's not a light sprinkle of something. It's been affecting us for a long time, and it affects our wellness and our stress management, how we're able to work with this and things that we can do with it. There are some things that we can work just on the job site. We call it the 3 free. You can listen to music, laugh, even if it's a fake laugh, making yourself laugh. Doing that, you will release endorphins in your body. And then getting outside, walk away from your job site. If you're going to if you're going to work all day and you're on a construction site and you're eating your lunch there, you're working there, and you never get a chance to walk away, you're never unplugging from it. Take 20 minutes and walk away for 20 minutes. If it's listening to music, if it's laughing, or if it's just sitting peacefully and quietly, to give yourself that mental break. You really do need it. I see Ian bringing up man therapy is another way of doing some great help. That's a great little show. I like watching that one. It's peer support. Peer support. So I've touched on, medicating and not having any follow up. We've talked about leaving it alone and thinking it'll just go away. It doesn't work. Peer support, having the support of your peers around you, folks that have been through it, they've been there, they've done that, they've got the t-shirts and the scars for it as well. And creating, like I said, a worker-friendly zone, right? It can be anything from customizing your lighting to quiet areas or addressing those particular needs. And that's what we're doing with our covers program. Got a link in there for that if you'd like to follow up on our page. And like I said, our guys, as they receive their training in this and they're in the field, they'll get to wear this badge with their Pathfinders tab on it. So again, peer support is it's an additive to the process. Recognizing it, being able to treat it, whether that's with medication or taking an evaluation of your job sites and what you're having to work around, right? So maybe those guys that were around somebody that got hurt by a saw, you move them to a different job position for a while and get them to work so they're not around it and work with those modalities that they need, right? Or maybe it's, hey, I can sit down in actual group and work through that. I had some very serious trauma affect me in my earlier years outside of the military that I actually had to seek some help. I needed to talk to somebody because I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody where I was. And being able to do that and sit down and using things like journaling really, really do help. Group, peer-to-peer really does help, and it helps get you through those things. And then developing empathy. The role of empathy in a leader is paramount. You have to have that. You can't just expect somebody, oh, get over it, suck it up, be a man. That doesn't work. We've got years and years from 1945 to now of knowing that that doesn't work. Stop trying to use it like that, right? You got to build relationships. You have to foster those relationships between your managers and your folks in the field, your foremen in the field. It takes a team to get through this thing. Nobody is Rambo. Nobody is Superman, right? So that's what we have to work with. And the first part of that is you got to have empathy. Be willing to listen. Ask those questions and be willing to hear the answers to it. Don't ask a question, hey, you're not thinking about doing something, are you? You don't give them the answer so the no is built into it. That gives you the easy out. Don't, hey, I hope you're doing good today. If you need something, call the number. And then you keep on walking down the hallway or down the job site. Be willing to stop and listen to folks. That's what empathy is. I'm going to ask you how you're doing. I want a real reply from you. Are you really having a good day? Are you doing all right? You don't look like it. I've seen you better. Let's talk about this. Let's take 20 minutes and walk away. Let's go over here and check things out. Right? So then we can go to the next one. Having that difficult conversation, right? Challenges of a difficult conversation. Managing workers with PTSD may lead to sensitive and challenging conversations that require empathy and care. Know that when you ask somebody how they're doing and they want to answer back to you, that you're going to get that, you may get that in-depth conversation, right? You don't necessarily have to drag it out on them either, but if you ask repeatedly and they know that you really want to care about it, they're more likely to come and talk to you about it. I had conversations yesterday with a guy that's working on a job, and we're just, hey man, I'm here. If you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. If not, we can talk about tattoos and motorcycles and football teams. Train your managers in their communication hands, what to say, what not to say. These things really do count. And then conflict resolution. Employees with conflict resolution strategies help maintain team harmony and reduces workspace stress, right? Just because you got one guy that, oh, I've been through that and I'm fine, just get over it. Doesn't work. Think about if you got kids, think about your kids that, have a nightmare. They're scared of the monster in the closet. To them, that's real. They're really scared. They're really worried about it. They're crying over something like that. When somebody is going through they're going through an emotional thing, it is legitimate. They are validated in their feelings, and they need to know that, hey, it's 100% okay. These things are real. These feelings, this is real. You've got a real reason to be upset about this. And I'm going to reassure you, I'm going to walk through this with you. If we need to call 988, we are going to call 988. I'll pick up the phone, put it on speaker. We'll go through this together, right? I'm not going to ask you to go handle it on your own and come back, right? You're not leaving it at the gate.
Okay. I think that is the presentation. It's about 3 minutes after 12 Central Time. I'll open it up for questions, and while I'm doing that, please use your comments to make a question if you have one. There has been several good inputs in the sections here. One of them was from Ian Perry, a couple from Ian actually, where he identifies afsp.org. So it's you can see that. Then there was a suggestion by, hold on a second here. By Ian again on learn how at hardhatcourage.com. And then I think that was it for sharing.
I would like to
anyway, so if you have any questions, please type them in now. Otherwise, we will end this because time is important for everybody. But if you will get the recording, you will get the information. If by chance that does not happen, maybe it goes to spam or something like that, just reach out to either myself or Shiloh on LinkedIn, and we will provide that information to you. At this time, I think it looks like we're getting some comments, but no questions. We want to thank all of you for your time. These are very important issues. Okay, here's one. What ways have you all seen this topic normalize this on job sites? In my experience, this was the hardest part. You wanted to go with that, Shiloh?
What ways have you seen this topic normalize this on job sites and experiences? The hardest part. Normalizing it. So within our group, when I started this Construction Veterans Reducing Suicide, getting us together, we meet face-to-face once a quarter. We do monthly check-ins, and then we actually just have a shared chat back and forth that we'll go in there and talk with that. And with anything, at first, things can be a little bit standoffish, but the more you see it, the more you do it, the more that it starts to come about, the more folks integrate with it. And so that's just what we did. We made it as a peer-to-peer. You are as equal as I am in this, right? You got you got the floor as much as I do. We'll talk to each other. We'll work with each other. And so normalizing it and being able to talk to it that way. Something as simple as a guy that was working, he was from Colorado, and he was down here for 11 months by himself. He got a 1-bedroom apartment and basically was working 12 hours a day, coming back to his apartment, sitting there all by himself, didn't have anything else to do but start drinking. And then if he contacted his girlfriend that was, back in Colorado, there were fights and, they weren't there. And, how is this going to stick together? What's going to happen? And so we started talking with him, and he's like, man, I'll have a problem. And if I talk to my girlfriend about it, she, she's not getting in my boat and rowing. How do I get her to do this? And I had to tell him, I said, man, she is in your boat. Not only is she rowing, she's literally trying to lead you out of this dark spot, not let you push further down in it. And he's like, what? I said, when she's telling you to leave that alone, she's not pushing you away. She's trying to pull you out of this. She is trying to guide that boat back this way. That's what you're not seeing. He's like, I never thought about it like that. And so I started sharing. I've been married for 35 years. I started sharing the things that I went through with me and my wife and how maybe he could use these things. He's like, I never thought about it. And so now we start bringing things up to each other. Hey, what do you think about this and this? Because this is really chafing my butt this week about this guy and how we're doing this. okay, well, here's what you can do about it. And here's what and we just kind of bounce things off of it. So it's become normalized. And we're like, hey, and how's your mental health doing? He's like, I'm doing good. He's like, I really like, being able to work with you and this group. He goes, I kind of found that connection. If I'm having a bad day, I can reach up on the text and go, oh, today is just, it's getting to me. And guys are like, hey, well, you want to do this? You want to do that? Hey, I'm going to do a little fly fishing out at the lake this weekend. You want to come with me? You want to come over and have a boring night of meatloaf and watching reruns on TV? Come on over. Simple things like that. So
Shiloh, look, there's a couple of questions, then we're going to close this out. Yara had a question. Says, do you believe that machismo plays a role in hiding mental health problems? If you could just answer that quickly, and then we'll have
absolutely, yes, it does.
Okay.
Machismo absolutely does play into hiding mental health. I saw a post on LinkedIn today that says men go to sleep at 2 o'clock, up at 6 o'clock. They're broke, and alone, but that's what being a man is about. And I had to fire back. You're absolutely wrong. That is not what it's about. That is all about bad time management. That's about this. It's got nothing to do with being a man. And he was a Navy vet, and he was like, well, I'm like, well, do you know who Mike Day was? A Marine and Navy SEAL, shot 27 times and lived his life through that. Amazing guy. You can't say he's not a man. And you know what? He still succumbed.
So Yara, there was an answer to your question outside of what Shiloh just did from Travis Browning. You may want to read that in the comments section. And then to close it out, Caleb asked a question. He said, you mentioned the UK during the presentation. I've been on sites there and noticed some cultural differences in how mental health is discussed and accepted. And try to make this brief because we're going over time. What are your thoughts on cross collaboration with international teams?
I love it. I'm all for it because we're humans on this planet. We may talk in different dialects, but what affects us is still theoretically the same down inside. I had to talk with a guy that was from Australia and New Zealand, and we were talking about the MATES program that was over there and how we have things that encompass and are doing the same kind of thing. So yeah, I think it does work when we talk about cross collaboration with international teams. I really want to, being here in Austin, Texas, I really want to see more the collaboration of, hey, is Mexico doing anything with this, and how are they helping with their folks, and how can we work that program in with us here with our Hispanic cultures that are working with us on our job sites. I really want to reach out to those folks. Machismo, you're talking about that, and then the cross collaboration with international teams. Would love that. There needs to be an international, because this is a worldwide issue that affects all of us. I'm really loving these questions, man. We need to.
Yeah, we've done several of these, and this has been one of the more active comment webinars that I've done. Obviously, it's due to the topic itself, but we're going to close this out. Thank you to everybody who has attended this, and all of those who have participated with nice, important comments. We will get this to you guys. Again, if you don't receive it by the end of the week, let me know or Shiloh know, and we'll get you the PPT, and we'll get you the recording as well. But thank you all for attending and participating, and have a great rest of the day and rest of the week, and be safe. I'm going to end the stream right now. Take care.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.